People deluded, I'm back again. By now, you already know the settings. I'm with my guy Curtis. How you been, man? What you on?
All good, my bro. It's a good weekend. Busy one, Good weekend for Arsenal, man. But the link-up's back, man. Bergkamp and Henry, man. Or what they
Exactly.
calling it? Carno and Wiltord, they
Yeah,
were
yeah,
saying.
Carno Wilton. One guy made a comment. I should make him a moderator just for that funny comment, bro.
Hit it,
That one was. Sometimes you get some silly ones, but I'll give him 10 out of 10 for
hit
fucking
it.
what's the word? Creativity. How you
Yeah.
feeling today, anyways, my guy, man? Obviously, we had a big weekend. We had a good weekend. Let's jump straight into it. We won the Community Shield. People will say it's not a trophy. At the end of the day, when you win it, it's always nice. Arteta goes to Wembley. We come out the other side. What's your feelings on the game, man? And how, it felt to lift the Community Shield?
I mean, first of all, look, it's not a major trophy, but you have to win a trophy to be able to win it at the end of the day. I'm sure Tottenham would love to win the Community Shield, you know what I mean? But you earn the right to be there, man. When I go Spain on holiday, them Barcelona fans over there, they love the Super Cup over there. Like it's the showpiece event of the season. It's one of them. If we'd have lost, everyone would have been saying, "Oh, you lost in a final, whatever." But because we won, they play
It don't matter now.
We're not allowed to celebrate because we won. That's it, innit? Every other team plays it down. But when United won it, Mourinho was calling it a trophy. But anyway,
shameless thing. Yeah.
Shameless.
Treble and them thing there.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But in terms of the game itself, I'll be honest, when I saw the lineup, I was like, well, I don't know how that's going to work. I've seen Liverpool look push. Bruv, do you know what? I'll be honest with you. I'll hold my hands up. I saw no way that our midfield could do anything in that game. I just thought... Elneny and Xhaka, I thought, how are we even going to get the ball forward?
Been down there before.
Them man don't even play the ball forward most of the time, you know what I mean? But you know what? They done their thing still. Like I said to Robbie after, man, I'm not getting carried away. Like, I don't, because we got a very reactionary fan base in that a player can be bad for 2 years and he has 5 good games. Oh, let's keep him. He's a new player.
He's back.
And I'm like, bro, he's having a good little spell, but look, it's something to build on, man. But I just hope the board don't, because the Arsenal board move a little different. I hope they don't look at that game and think, maybe we don't need to spend as much money.
Maybe these players are better. Arteta's got them thinking well and whatnot.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So, no, it was a good win. I didn't think Liverpool played great, to be honest. I thought they were a little bit arrogant. I feel like they maybe thought they were just going to turn us over, man. But I thought Ainsley played well. Nuffman played well, man. But he kept Salah quiet for 90, man. I didn't see Salah the whole game.
Who was man of the match for you?
See, it's a tricky
one. Everyone put in work. But
everyone put in different... See, I really enjoyed Saka's performance. I'm not going to lie, bro.
Trust me.
On that right-hand side, against Robertson.
Man about Saka on the right.
Yeah, I remember in the last video.
Man about this thing.
I felt bad, Carl. I had him on some left-back thing. You was talking about right wing. I said, right wing. When he cut inside, bro, and just sprayed that ball to Aubameyang, I was like, nah, bro. Even, let
me press you on that goal, bro. Let me press you on that goal, because I think I mentioned, it's in my notes to talk to you about, That goal was a madness. Obviously, off the top of my head, I can't remember everybody that was involved, but you saw it more or less from the keeper to defense, Saka with the wavy pass, Aubameyang with the finish. Them things there are not accident. We've seen that sort of goal. We've seen it at Wembley against City. We've seen it a couple of times. What do you feel about Arteta's blueprint and the things he's setting? Because that's what we want to see. And that game, for me, that goal showed me what I've trying to been saying when we were speaking, where I don't think he wants to make us a counter-attacking team. But when the opportunity presents itself to hurt a team, we go and do it. So knowing that we've seen that kind of goal often now, what's your feelings on Arteta in that sense and his coaching overall now then?
I mean, first of all, I wasn't overly keen at the start on Arteta, but I'll be honest, he's starting to turn around like my way of thinking towards him, because the thing is, Emery tried to play that football. And I remember, as well, we used to be at the Emirates all the time. And every minute we'd be going crazy. What's going on? Like, you're overplaying, you know what I mean? But Arteta's he's got it working, man. That goal, like, I think
there's intent to the passing.
Oh, so much, bro. The way it just went with the ball from it was sick. And the thing is, I think against the top teams, with the midfield we've got at the moment, we're not, if you look at the City game, the Chelsea game, the Liverpool game, we're not really controlling the game in terms of possession. Yeah. I think he knows that our midfield isn't as good as them teams.
So that we're not levels.
We're not levels yet. So it's like, look, when you get the ball, you move it and you hurt them on the counter attack. At the moment, we're so good on the break. You know, we've got pace in wide areas.
Kind of thing that works for us.
It works. I mean, I've spent the last year moaning about Aubameyang playing on the left, but every time he scores a goal, I'm just like,
you can't say anything in it.
Me as well.
Like,
what do I know, really?
What do I know, bro? Like, he's Arteta. He does his thing. It is what it is.
He knows more than me, bro. Like, he wants his striker to be more of a link man, I think, and you know what Lacazette does, and Eddie was trying to do. Eddie could have scored, man. He had scored
a couple, bro. Could have been 3-0 at one point. Could have did it the game. I think he played well, but he's got a pattern that.
Yeah, for real. First half, we could have finished them off, man. You know, that was the thing that was frustrating me. I thought at 1-0, they're going to get a goal somewhere.
You could see it, innit? You could see
it, man. And I felt this is one thing I want to point out, what I didn't like. And it's understandable because I see Arteta saying that people like Luiz had trained once, like, so it's difficult. But I felt like we retreated too much in the second half. Like, we invited that goal. And then the last 10 minutes, we had a little go at them. Like, I'm sure Joe Willock was playing false 9 at one stage.
Yeah, he did. I think Joe Willock did okay in the literally 2-3 minutes he played. He did a little thing.
A lot of energy, man. So Arteta, I love the way he's building. I think the tactics are right. It's funny because I thought this 3 at the back or 5 at the back, whatever you want to call it, was like a temporary fix. But it could actually be the long-term formation because I feel like Ainsley could be a better wing back than a fullback.
Do you know what it is for me, bro? I think it is, you know. I think he wants to go to 4 at the back. But like he said, Luiz is trained once a week. You know, Liverpool were in pre-season quicker than us, sorry. So I think he was just, it's not broke, let me not fix it. This ain't the game. I haven't had time to be changing stuff. But for me, I want to see us still play 3 at the back. I want us to have it in our arsenal, like you see with these games. You made an interesting point about retreating, and obviously, like you said, it's because we've obviously, for want of better words, we've got inferior players, you know, they're going to dominate us. But I kind of like the way we're moving defensively. It's not perfect. There are some heart-in-mouth moments, but I just feel Arteta has provoked the thinking in these players to kind of just do a bit better. It's like you said, you know, Xhaka sometimes has frailties. You can't have a bad word to say about him. We'll get on to Elneny, but Elneny match work, it's like, you're just waiting on the players, man. What you're thinking when it's gone to 1-1 now, and like you was watching the watch along, you could see the goal. We're looking tired, mistakes are happening. What was you feeling at 1-1? Like, what was how was it for you at 1-1?
I mean, I wasn't totally panicking. I wasn't like thinking, oh, the game's over. I still felt like Liverpool were there to be hit on the break. I'll be honest, I was saying I felt like Arteta should have made changes a little bit earlier.
That's one thing about Arteta.
He's Wenger-ish, isn't he?
Yeah, he's real disciple Wenger, isn't it? Time 60th minute, he's not bringing man on until then.
Yeah, like, you know, like Minamino scored, and I feel like Arteta's going, right, come on, stop warming up now, come on, I'm bringing you on. Where it's like, yo, we look a little tired, make the changes now, but he'll learn. He's learning on the job, so it is what it is. But, you know, I always felt like when he brought Willock and them on, we looked dangerous on the counter-attack. You know, Willock had that header, man. I thought he should have scored that.
Nah, he should have done much better. And he gets in that position quite a lot, you know, like that little heading or needing a tapping thing. He needs to.
But no, I think overall it was a very positive performance, and I'm just looking at it and thinking, you know, if you drop 1 or 2 better players in those positions, you know, what kind of team can we be? I mean, the thing I'm looking at with this 3 at the back, and like I said, I've never really wanted us to play 3 at the back.
Me neither.
But I'm thinking Gabriel left centre-back, Luiz in the middle, and Saliba right centre-back.
That's a tasty one.
I like the way that sounds, man. I like the way that sounds. Because Luiz, I'm telling you, Luiz in a 3 is decent, man. There's no doubt about it. He's decent in a 3. You put pace around him. But we just got to sort that midfield. I mean, they did well at the weekend, but that midfield is still levels below the top teams, in my opinion. So that's what we got to sort out.
Facts. And that's what fans fail to forget. It's like, we're not trying to be negative. We're not trying to rain on parade. It's just, you need to look at 38 games. You know, it's not just one performance level. Is that midfield specifically going to do it? Now, I like Xhaka. I think Xhaka can be part of the plans. I believe Elneny, ideally, I'm not going to lie, I'm trying to get him off the books. And in in a bit of a cynical way, this little bit of form for me, like with Mustafi, there's probably never been a better time to sell, man. Then
Exactly,
so do this
bro.
thing. The only reason I'm keeping Elneny is because there's too much speculation over incomings and outgoings. On paper, we can talk until we're blue in the face, and we're both black, so we'll be here for time, about Ceballos coming back to the club. He's not here right now. You know, Partey is not here right now. Guendouzi and Torreira are nowhere to be seen. So we're very light in the midfield. And it's like you said, tactically, we're improving defensively. Like, we're bringing in additions. But the midfield is a big part of defending. Like, whether they're going to control the ball for us or they're going to relieve the pressure off the defense and things like that. So it needs to get patterned. There's still question marks. And like I said, off this, the thing you kept saying, like when we've been speaking in the week about we ain't got no signings done, excluding Willian, it's been ringing in my head, and it's almost like that elephant in the room is getting closer, man. I almost got lost upon the talking points, but my man here asked, well, he basically said Cedric was brought on around 57, so okay, technically not 60, but what did you make of Bellerin? Do you feel Bellerin deserved to get subbed then? And what did you feel of Cedric when he jumped on?
I thought Bellerin played well. I'll be honest with you, again, I keep it 100. Haven't been always Bellerin's biggest fan, but he played well. And, you know, I thought he kept Mane pretty quiet. He gave him that dirty little nutmeg as well, you know.
Little highlight show.
Was clean, bruv, I'm telling you. And the ball that he played down the line to Saka as well was quality. I think he probably came off because he was tired. You know what I mean? He's playing wing back. It's a hard shift wing back. You know, man, you've played full back and running up and down.
Especially in the back five as well, where the onus to go forward a bit more is to do this thing.
Exactly. So and he had to help Rob Holding against Mane as well. So he done a lot. So I think I can understand why Cedric came on. They're going to manage Bellerin carefully, man. He's still been out for a long time. But I thought he had a good game. To be honest.
Do you still have small hope of Bellerin being able to show some consistency over the season and prove that? I think we both know he's never going to be up there with Trent and these sort of marquee right backs. But if he can prove to be a competent addition, you know, offer something going forward, do you believe there's something in there? Because for me, I do, but I don't. I've got faith in Bellerin, more so Arteta. But yeah, bro.
Yeah, no, I think he can. You know, do you know what? The more I look at it, I look at the Cedric signing and I think, I'm not too sure why we made that signing permanent, if I'm honest. I could understand buying him in January because, you know, Bellerin had just come back. He was struggling for form. Ainsley, you know, there was question marks. He was having problems with Arteta. But to make it permanent and give him 4 years is like, did we really need him? Could we not?
29 today.
29 today on a 4-year deal. You know, that
not just really showed nothing as well.
Nah, I mean, I'm not convinced by him defensively at the moment, if I'm honest. It just screams out Don Raul, that signing, man. I think he got a nice payoff. He got a nice cut out of that. He got a nice one out of
that. That's the thing, man. For me, with this Cedric thing, like, I'm not convinced with Cedric. Sometimes, like, I've seen some bits of promise. I've seen some bit of nervy moments. And for me, the nervy moments, I'm looking at a 19-year-old to be doing them things. I'm not looking at a 20 or 10 years older. I'm not really on that. And with Cedric, I hope it works because the club don't have a leg to stand on. You've given him a contract when he's been injured. He's not really had a chance to show what he's been on. There's still that elephant in the room over that. You mentioned Rob Holding. Like, I felt Holding, he was a person I was looking at because he's playing on that right-hand side. He probably had nightmares of Mane and these players before because they've ruined him. I think he did all right in that channel. I think he did okay. And before the game, you know, there's links of going on loan to Newcastle and these sort of things. What did you make of Holding? And what do you make in theory of potentially going on loan to Newcastle?
I thought, first of all, Holding had a good game because when I saw Mane getting one-on-one a couple of times, I was worried, man. I thought, when you isolate Holding, sometimes that's where he looks a little weak. But I thought he did well against him. You look at that performance and all of a sudden you're thinking, is he the guy you should be loaning out? Like, I just think some of the other players who they probably want to sell, they're struggling to sell them. So they're looking at it going, look, man, we got Holding, Chambers, Mustafi, Pablo Mari, Saliba, Luis, Gabriel's coming in.
Mavropanos still on the wage books, technically on loan.
Too many. So they need to get rid of probably 3 centre-backs. You know, I think Socrates might go. Haven't seen Mustafi linked with a move. I think the fact he's injured until the end of October, I think. So
isn't going to help our case at all.
You can't see him being sold. With Holding, I mean, should we be loaning him? I'm not sure. I think if they're looking at holding long term and thinking we want to keep him, then loaning him, going Newcastle, playing 30, 40 games is going to help him. And I don't think he'll get that amount of football at Arsenal. So it's not a bad loan move for him. I suppose when you've got young-ish English players, you have to manage them carefully because they're at a premium now. You know, you need 5 or 6 in your squad. So you shouldn't just sell them, you know, on the cheap. So I think Newcastle will be a decent move for him, if I'm honest.
All right, let me be devil's advocate, Curtis. Boom. Let's just say the club have mixed feelings on him. He's gone to Newcastle now, and you know he's got 2 options now. He's contracted until 2023. Let's say he plays to the form where it looks stupid that he's gone out on loan, and we're all asking that very question as to why he didn't go on loan. And we have a player for next year potentially with, like you mentioned, 3 centre halves who might not be here in a year's time. He plays well, and we've done that in mind to get games with that injury. Or have we said, do you know what? We could sell him now, but he's had injuries. He's not played too much. Can he go out and play, like you said, 30, 40 games, put himself in the shop window, in theory, go from a 20 to a 30 million pound player, and then move him on? Because you look at Ben White. Okay, Brighton haven't sold him, but, you know, Brighton didn't want to sell him to Leeds. They could have very well said, Ben White's not in our plans. Let's go get 20, 30 million on him and go do whatever. So what's your feelings on that with devil's advocate in mind now, bro?
Do you know what? You make a good point. But if he plays well there, we win in both situations. You either bring back a much improved player or you sell him for more. What we can't afford to happen is he goes Newcastle and he's poor. You know what I mean? Because if he goes there and makes mistakes and they send him back to us, you're like, raw, we can't sell him now. And you know, we don't even want him. But I think Holding, do you know what? When I saw the loan, I'll be honest, my initial thought was I would either keep him or sell him. That's what I was thinking initially. I was thinking
loan didn't serve a purpose for you initially.
Yeah, I feel like he's too far down the line to loan him out, kind of thing. Like if you see potential in him, keep him around and play him and improve him. If you think you want to get rid of him, then sell him. But you know, I think they're thinking long term with him. I think they're probably undecided on him. Like you said, they're probably looking at him going, do you know what? If he goes Newcastle and has a good year, gets an England call up, we look stupid if we've sold him for 15 million. Everyone going, what did you do that?
What was Willian doing? Whose decision was that?
Yeah, I think the club are trying to protect themselves. He's not one of the main centre-backs. They don't see him playing consistently in the Premier League for us, but they don't want to lose him. So I kind of understand it, to be fair.
You see what it is with me and Holding? I'm half and half. Like we spoke about Holding. Like I'm a big fan of Holding. I think there's something there. I don't think he's ever going to be like Tony Adams, Real Ferdinand, Terry and these things. But I think there's a competent man there. I think Gabriel and Saliba are my number ones. But can Holding challenge them or be a competent option? Part of me thinks that. The other hand, I've just not seen too much progress. I think he's been starved of football, and that's a byproduct. But he's just too naive in 1v1 situations, as you mentioned, some of the decisions. And then when he plays like he did on Saturday or these isolated incidences, there's a player there. So admittedly, I'm open to selling him, but I want to see a bit more. I think it could be a blessing in disguise because, you know, the landscape at Arsenal could change with the centre halves. For me, it immediately tells me that, you know, Holding right now, Arteta doesn't see you as levels, whether that's injuries or whatever. Plays because, you know, he's probably thinking if need be, Tierney's there, you know, I've got the old men. I think Mustafi's ahead of him in the pecking order, so he goes with it like that, man. Elneny though, talk to me, my guy, man. You knew this was coming. Elneny, you know, we spoke about it before. He played good against MK Dons. We both said it's all fine and dandy playing against MK Dons. He saw us one up and did it, and the only thing he didn't do is score. He's all over the place. Like, he was combative. He had the engine. Like we spoke of this, he's never going to be the guy in terms of ball playing, but he offered something, man. What are you saying for Elneny? And yeah, can he have a future here? Can he be Xhaka's partner in a consistent starting 11?
I mean, first of all, big up Elneny, because no matter what you think of the guy, he plays for Arsenal and he put in a great performance. Deserves a lot of credit. I actually thought he was the better of the two in there. I thought he even played better than Xhaka. He moves the ball quicker, don't he, brother? Like, you know, he's a lot of times, Xhaka, you think you're going to get caught. Elneny just gets it, moves it. I wouldn't get caught on the hype. This is what I was having a debate at the watch along. Elneny this, and you know, Robbie's calling him the Egyptian Partey and all this. I'm like, listen.
Yeah, you know Robbie, man. He knows how to get them reactions out.
Yeah. You can't get that reaction out of me, bro. Listen. Elneny, to me, he's been at the club, 3 years? I think 1
Been there
year
for a
on loan.
minute, maybe even more than 3 years.
He's not good enough. You know, he's an average player. He's capable of decent performances. He's not a terrible footballer. He's technically decent. He's got energy. He gets about the pitch. His positioning's quite good. He's a tidy player. He could be at, to me, he's a Southampton. He's a Newcastle, Crystal Palace. No disrespect to them teams. I just don't see him as an Arsenal. Now, people are saying, can he be a squad player? And I get that, squad player, Europa League, League Cup. He looks like he's not going to kick up a big fuss if he's not in the team. But to me, your squad players have to be close to the guys who are starting. At top clubs, that's what I believe anyway.
It shouldn't be an obvious drop-off in quality when they play.
Yeah, there shouldn't be, man, because, one injury and then this guy's in the team playing every week. Your final question that you said there, you said, can Elneny be Xhaka's partner? When you say that to me, and I'm thinking, Arsenal's midfield pairing is Granit Xhaka and Mohamed Elneny. No. That for me, that can't run. We've just finished 8th in the Premier League, bro. We've probably had the worst season I can remember in my entire life. Like, I've never seen Arsenal as bad as what we were last year.
Facts.
We have to improve. Now, we can't improve. Well, Arteta's improving what we've got, first of all. That's the best thing. But we know we have to go and bring players in. Like,
there's only so much that we can do.
I'll be honest with you. I still look at Granit Xhaka and think, do you know what? We can improve on him. Like, I know he's improved a lot under Arteta. He is playing a lot better. He has found a lot more consistency. But to actually get back to where we need to be long term, which should be challenging for the Premier League. First of all, obviously, we want to get back in the top 4. Then we want to try and win the league. And I look at Xhaka and I think, do you know what? You're there now, but if we had the money, I would go and buy 2 centre midfielders.
Xhaka would be the squad player for me. Xhaka, I like him, but I just don't think he should be consistently playing, excluding the form and things he's been doing right now. Big up to Xhaka. Before I forget, some guy called Sean must have asked. It was almost in relation to, it's kind of on the path of what you've been on about fans getting a bit too gassed, forgetting that we finished 8th and certain players have been there for a minute. He said basically, if we keep this same mentality like we've seen in the cup competitions, and not bringing any additions, can we do better in the league? Like, can we finish higher than 8th? Can we get top 4 with this existing squad? What do you feel? I don't think that's the case because they will always show us what these levels are. But what are you saying, Curtis, man?
What? So can we get top 4 with this squad now?
Yeah, just new mentality under Arteta, same squad.
Nah, we're not there yet. I still think. I think because over the terms of a season, 38 games, I think how good you are really gets exposed over the longer period. At the moment, we're a cup team.
Every game, 3 days in that.
Can you do it? Them dirty games where, Burnley away and you got to go Europa League on a Thursday in the middle of nowhere and you come back on Sunday.
You got Old Trafford
Yeah. Old Trafford on a Sunday when you've just come back from, Ukraine on Thursday night.
And you're carrying knocks and all of these things.
That's where your ability is going to carry you through. And I feel like your Xhakas, your Elnenys, as much as these guys have improved, they're limited in what they can do and how often they can produce it. And
that's the honest truth without trying to have agendas and things. That's just the honest truth.
Yeah, I mean, bruv, we finished 8th. We didn't finish 5th, like 2 points off 4th. We finished 8th. We only got in Europe because we won the FA Cup. We would have had no European competition. So, the gap, our midfield is still, I think we've addressed the defence when Gabriel's announced. Saliba's come in. I'm quite comfortable with the defence. The goalkeepers, well, we'll have a discussion about that, I'm sure, because for me, I right now, I'm backing Martinez, I'm telling you.
It is on Martinez. And let's kick that off right now, man, because you know yourself, with every game that Leno is on the bench and every game that Martinez plays quality like he did, the question's always going to be there. There's been a lot of conflicting reports about Martinez. Before the game or the day before, you saw the Athletic say he's going to go. We want to sell it for 10. He wants us to let him go for 10 million. Raul Sanjay was saying 20. In the aftermath of that game, there's been talk of new contract signings and things. So What are you saying for Martinez? Because I think out of, ironically, there was a couple of players whose futures are up in there. You've got Martinez, you've got Holding, to a degree, Elneny, you got Maitland-Niles. I'm pretty sure I speak for you when I say the man in question and Maitland-Niles, they're the ones you kind of want to keep and stuff like these performances. So what are you saying for that, man?
Martinez, for me, listen, new contract. And for me, he starts the season as number one.
It's to lose.
Now, I'm not putting... They're both so good as goalkeepers that I'm not saying like you're number one, you're number two.
That's over for you.
It's just simply you've got the shirt right now. It's yours to lose. You keep playing well, Leno don't get back in the team. He'll have to play Europa League, League Cup, FA Cup. The main thing I'm saying for me, I don't know what it is. It's just a feeling. I feel more comfortable with Martinez in goal. I don't know why. He's better at coming for crosses, in my opinion. He's kicking.
This is why I bring Curtis on this show. The very thing I was thinking of in my head, you just said it out loud. The partnership is there. He understands the team. Said collecting the crosses. I don't know what it is, like you said. He just is it. Sorry for stopping. Is it because Martinez is more so the old school keeper? I don't want to be unfair to Leno, because maybe if Martinez was there for a season, things would have been differently. But Martinez is a bit more old school with it. He more knows his capabilities. He's more a bit humble with it, and I kind of like that with him. So, is it that? I don't know, my guy.
No, I agree. I think Martinez is more the old school keeper, like the big guy, and he come for cross. These keepers nowadays, they like ball playing goalkeepers, aren't they? Like.
Like a centre half, basically, blood.
Yeah, you're sweeping up. Like Leno's quick off his line. He's a great shot stopper. He's got his reactions are amazing. But when crosses come in, I don't feel as comfortable with Leno. Going to the Emirates, and you don't even have to go to the Emirates. Leno's distribution drives me insane. The amount of times we've got counter attacks on, and this guy kicks the ball out for a throw in and that.
Bro.
Listen, Martinez, for me, there is no way on earth we should be selling him. If we sell him, we're crazy. When I seen him being linked with 10, 15 million, I'm thinking, nah, mate, give him a new contract.
Like, you got to be stupid to even in the COVID market. Like, this is what I mean, where Arsenal have to help themselves. You can't, there's no way Arsenal letting go for 10 million. I hear a bit of that. When I was reading the article, to be fair, the 10 million was coming at, if an agreement couldn't be met for 20, would, Arsenal, Martinez was asking, would Arsenal sort of, what's the word, honor him and just say, will you take 10 million? So it's not really Arsenal, but you can't get 10 million. That's, for me, that's if you want to sell him, cool, but that's 30 million. That is 30 million minimum. Like, that is, Pickford went for 30 million. Martinez, fair enough, he ain't been playing Premier League football as long, but he's clearly better than him. For me, I want to keep him, but I don't want to be unfair to Leno, man, because I feel Leno's being done a bit dirty. It's like, man, I'm forgetting what he's done, because same way, remember a couple of times when Martinez has played, no disrespect to him, but we've done positive. There's been times Leno, we've conceded about 3-4 goals, and Leno's arguably still our man of the match. Now, I back Martinez to do that as well, but if we saw it over a whole season, would it be a different sort of case, man? It's like the distribution's a thing. Do you think Leno is a bit too arrogant? Because I can't lie, I kind of do. I like his arrogance, but I think he thinks he's better than he is. It's like Martinez understands I'm a goalie. Like, you can see he's like, I've been waiting for this 10 years. I'm not trying to mess this up, sort of thing.
Now, I hear what you're saying. Martinez, he gets down to basics very well. Leno looks like, hey, big up Turkish. Leno looks like, he's training with the German team. He's probably seeing Neuer and Ter Stegen and these, man. But listen, we haven't got the midfield. We haven't got the defense to do that. So we expose him a lot. As I say, people always think when you pick someone over someone else that it means like you don't rate the other guy. Bruv, I rate Leno highly. I was delighted when we signed him. We got a bargain. Martinez is stepped in. I never expected him to do this well. As you said, in Europa League, he's looked shaky at times, but I think psychologically knowing that Leno was injured and knowing that he was going to have a good run in the team, it's allowed him to focus. And in football, if somebody gets an opportunity and, they earn the right to keep that, you should reward them with that. We can't be just getting caught up on reputation. It's not like Leno. It's not like Leno is like the best keeper in the world and you're under so much pressure, you've got to put him back in. He's a very good goalkeeper. He's still got grey areas in his game. And for me, man, Martinez, at Fulham, first game of the season, he has to be in goal for me. And we have to give him a new contract as well.
Yeah, bro, we have to give him a new contract. For me, the new contract is because we need to reward him and it protects our value. I think the best thing we did, because I was reading the article in The Athletic, and they said we gave him a 6-year deal and he's on 20 bags a week. Now, that is a rare win for Arsenal with how he's playing.
Yeah,
he's on 20 bags. I know Saka is like, Saka's a bad boy, but if I'm Martinez, Saka's been a professional footballer for like half a season and he's on 30, 40K, 11, I'm on 20.
He's being bumped.
Things in the cup. You're violating, isn't it? So I'm with that. How do you think we see a conclusion? Because obviously, at the end of the day, it's like you said, it's shirts to lose. It's about what you're doing in matches and in training. For me, it's clearly Martinez. Now, The Athletic said Leno is still the number one, but I think right now Martinez is, because one played against MK Dons, one played in the cup. I read some of Arteta's comments after the game, and he was saying, "Oh, Leno's kind of been fit. He could have played in the FA Cup final, but we didn't want to risk it." So he's been fit for a minute. So it's like, how long do you see this being revisited in January? And then both keepers looking at how much football's been played. It's almost like United, because they got Henderson, new deal now, said he's staying, and they got De Gea. Do you get it? Like how long do you see until we have to make a decision? Like one is the number one, and then we have to source something else.
Do you know what? I'll be honest. I think we're under pressure, because you got to look at Leno. Leno's in the German squad now. I think he's third choice goalkeeper. They got obviously Neuer, Ter Stegen ahead of him. He's going to be looking at the Euros next summer and going, yo, man, I need to be playing football. Martinez equally, he wants a new contract. I think for him to sign a new contract, he's going to want guarantees that he's going to get football, because I'm looking at Romero is Argentina's number one. He's probably going to be Man United's third choice goalkeeper now with Henderson and De Gea. If I'm Martinez, I'm thinking, yo, next World Cup Argentina, I'm playing. I'm number one goalkeeper. So,
and he said in the article, he said he wants that. He said the next step is now, he said he wants to solidify himself at Arsenal and do his thing for his country. You can't do that for your country without playing on a regular basis, because I know he's been called up to the Argentina squad before, but I don't know for caps. And I definitely didn't know until his form challenging for that number one spot and things like that. So it's crazy, man. So it's Martinez is to lose. Would there ever be a future where you consider selling Leno?
If Martinez does this consistently, what he's been doing since he's come in, if he can do it for the majority of the season, goalkeepers will always have a little wobble somewhere. It's natural. But if he has a solid season and he hangs on to that shirt and Leno, wanted out, I wouldn't be overly against it. I think you would get good money for him. I look at it like this with Leno. Neuer, if he retires or whatever in a year or two, and Bayern Munich come knocking for Leno, do you think Leno would really be like, nah, I'm cool, man, I want to be at Arsenal? He doesn't love Arsenal, does he? He would go to Bayern Munich. He would go to Bayern Munich if he was offered the number one. So, look, man, I think, big clubs, you're supposed to be able to keep people happy in certain positions. You shouldn't have a great keeper, then a terrible one underneath him. So, Leno, you got to earn your shirt back, as far as I'm concerned. Keep them both. And just, see what happens throughout the season.
All right, man. And we've spoken about a couple players, but we haven't spoken about Maitland-Niles. Now, it seems like we're always speaking about Maitland-Niles, but he played, he had a fantastic birthday. It's his birthday.
Yeah, man.
He won a cup. He's playing for Arsenal on his birthday. How many people could say they're doing that anyways? And he got called up to England. Obviously, now heard talk of Wolves are ending interest, and there's now talk of a new deal, even though he's contracted until 2023. What's your thoughts on all of this and Maitland-Niles as a whole now?
Bruv, we spoke about this last week, and we said that we shouldn't be getting rid of him. It's as simple as that. I think what we're doing, we need to raise funds, and as we said before, those guys at the bottom of the pecking order, we're struggling to get rid of them. And not only that, if we are getting rid of them, we're getting peanuts for them. Like, I'm reading Socrates could be going for 4 million euros. Like,
we're just happy the wages are off the book.
We're taking anything just to get rid of them. So, they're probably looking at like Partey and Aouar and these, man. They're saying, yo, you got to sell some players if you want to buy them. So then they're looking at Ainsley and these boys there and thinking, we can get a little bit of money for them. But Ainsley, again, for me, you've got to keep him. He's 23. This is the third time in a row.
Now, whether he gets capped or not, that should mean the zeros are there now.
As soon as you play for England, that's another 10 million at least. You're an England international, 23 years of age, and you play for Arsenal. You can't be going for £20 million. That's crazy, bro. So again, I want to see him given a new contract. I think the problem you've got, Arsenal have to tell him where he's going to play and is he going to play consistently. If you want to play Bellerin at right back or right wing back, I don't see him playing Ainsley in the middle of the park. Where are you going to fit him in this team? Is he going to be the left wing back? I don't know. So this is the problem. I don't know if you can promise Maitland-Niles football and where you're going to play him. That's the problem.
And that's the thing with Maitland-Niles. Like I was reading a report today in relation to him going to the Wolves stuff and his transfer stuff in general. And they were saying he's got concerns over if we was to play three at the back. And this might be the papers just inventing it, but talking about Gabriel and Saliba, obviously they're going to indirectly affect him because with that, Tierney's going to move over to the left, Bellerin on the right. You've got Saliba at right centre half now. So it's like there's not really game time. I share what you feel in midfield. I think if he was to get a bit more... Because with Ainsley, in these isolated incidences, his calmness, it's amazing. But like Arteta said, you want to see it every 3 days. If he gets a bit more sharper speed of thought, then I can see him marrying his natural attributes because he is a fucking good athlete in terms of getting up and down. He'd be good in midfield. You want to see him move over to the right, but then you're asking, why isn't he legitimately seen as a right back? Clearly Arteta believes in him, but you've brought in Cedric. Is that with Bellerin leaving in mind? Is that considering Maitland, who's got a new agent, leaving in mind? Left back, if Kolasinac leaves, then cool, you've got Maitland who can do a job there. But is he going to play ahead of Tierney? Arguably, is he going to be played ahead of Saka? Because people forgetting how well Saka did. And obviously, Saka gives us a lot going forward. So what would you say his price tag is now if we was to sell him? Now, because I'm looking at 30 million max before this England call-up and these good performances and things like that. What would you be saying now?
Yeah, minimum 30. Minimum 30. Even in this market, like we said last week, man, that Ramsdale goalkeeper, he left Bournemouth to Sheffield United for, I think, 20 million with add-ons or 18 million with add-ons. This guy plays for Arsenal, first of all. He's English. He's about to become an international. His versatility is outstanding. He's got to be 30 mil, and if no one ain't offering 30 mil, then keep him. Like you said, he's contracted for a few more years.
Rarity for us.
Yeah, so, it happens sometimes. A player wants to move, that, we want a certain price, no one's paying it, you're not going anywhere, man. So I think Arsenal need to keep him, unless someone pays big money for him, which, apparently Wolves offered less than 20 million for him.
Exactly, so they're not on this thing seriously for him. So they're not honest. They're trying to lickle man us and stuff.
Yeah.
For me, with Maitland, when you're a versatile player, you obviously run the risk of being a jack of all trades, master of none. But I also think people think you can't underestimate versatility. You look at Milner. Milner's a centre mid. He can play left, even in his old age now. Left and right back, he can lock it down. Not first choice, clearly not first choice. But when you've got too many man that can play in these positions, you then have square pegs in round holes. But you need at least one. For me, Maitland-Niles, there's an opportunity at right back to be had. Either way, I want him in the squad. If he does a thing like Martinez, you're playing where you shouldn't be dropped, then cool. But I believe he could have a future here. Obviously, quick question as well, man. I've left this on the screen for a minute, and this is for you, man, because you're, the king of the Aubameyang fan club and things. And I don't know if stats are backed up, but people have Aubameyang down, for want of better words, as a tap-in merchant. And if this is true, he has the least tap-ins, however that's marked. And, Pulisic is a bit irrelevant. Just focusing on Aubameyang, he doesn't have that much tap-ins. He has the least. So what's your thoughts on that? That's crazy if that's true.
I mean, assuming that's true. But again, I'm not surprised because, bruv, what do Arsenal create, really? Think about most of Aubameyang's goals. They're goals where, he's still got a lot to do. You watch Aguero for Man City. How many times do you see Sterling just pull it across, tapping? De Bruyne tapping, through ball, one-on-one with a keeper. Aubameyang, a lot of the time, even the goal on the weekend, he had a lot to do, bro. That ball bounced, he's chested it, controlled it, cut inside, bent it past probably the best goalkeeper in the league. The guy is an absolute superstar. For me now, Aubameyang is probably the best striker in the league because I always used to say Aguero, but Aguero's suffering with injuries. He hasn't been at the top of the goal scoring charts for 3 or 4 years now, Aguero. So I think we've got the best striker in the league, man.
For me, I agree. You know what? I'm still at that stage with the Aguero thing, like with you. You've made the transition. I'm still.
You're still holding on to it a little bit.
This is the Aguero. This is him, innit?
He's something else.
Aubameyang's clutch, man. Like he's bagging goals from the middle. We speak about playing him in the middle. He's a gunman on the left-hand side. We can't have a thing to say. It looks like he's cool doing that. For me, it's this contract business now. It's like every week, this week, it's gonna be announced.
Annoying.
It's gonna get patterned. Like, do you think we're gonna see that in the near too distant future? Could we see that before the start of the season? Because that for me would be the best thing. Because I don't want this speculation to go into the season.
They need to get it done this week, man. I mean, but like you said, every week we're saying, people are saying days like it's going to be Monday, Tuesday, but no one seems to know anything. But I think it is going to get done, but I don't know what the delay is. It's just typical Arsenal, isn't it? Everything seems to be dragged out. You know, Gabriel did his medical last Monday. We still haven't announced him. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, still Arsenal playing all but name.
Yeah. So I think Aubameyang will get done though, but yeah, just one other thing there. One of the comments, a guy was talking about Aubameyang's durability, and that is what makes me put him above Aguero now, because you look at Aguero and Harry Kane the last 2 or 3 years, they're getting injured every season. You know, Kane constantly mashing up his ankle. Aguero, I think, you know, he had a knee injury this year.
Aubameyang's never part of this. Like, touch everything.
Yeah, touch wood, everything. When was the last time Aubameyang was injured? Like, he's hardly ever injured. So that's why I would put him at the top of the tree now, bro.
And for me, that's where obviously you have to urge caution, but that's where I feel Aubameyang's one of these players. You can't, when someone signs a deal and we look at age and all of these things, especially as Arsenal fans, that's why I feel not everybody can be counted as that, because there are some exceptions to the rule. It's like you said, Aubameyang looks after himself. I don't know if he's learned that in Italy where their players play well or it's whatever he does, but he looks after himself. He's never injured. At his age, in theory, he should be slowing down. He shouldn't be able to, track back 30 yards in a big game and still get up there. So the age thing is irrelevant. In probably real terms, most people dead at 35 in terms of football. He probably could play till he's 37. I'm not saying that's going to be at Arsenal, but I think there's use in that. It's like you look at the 2 top goal scorers last season. You got Vardy and him, and age doesn't seem, when you're an intelligent footballer, when you look after yourself, when you clearly, are an absolute professional, the age isn't a thing. I want to ask you a question, because the more we talk about Aubameyang on the left, is the harder it kind of gets to fit everybody in. We know Willian can play as a 10. If we bring in 2 midfielders like Partey and Aouar, which are speculated, not going to happen. How does it match up, man? What's I'd say front 3. Let me say front 5.
Yeah, no, it's difficult. I mean,
because obviously Xhaka's probably in there, and then you got the midfielder, the 10, and the 3 up front.
So I reckon we'll probably sign one midfielder. I don't see us getting like Aouar and Partey. I think he'll be one of the 2. And then Ceballos, obviously, what happens with him. But they'll probably go Xhaka. I could see like Xhaka and Partey in the 2 with Willian in the 10. But then I'm looking at the front 3 thinking, where's Saka? Like, you know what I mean? I feel like Saka should be in the team. Yeah. But then you got Pepe, you got Aubameyang, you got Lacazette. So I think it's just going to be good competition this year. I think that's what Arteta wants. He wants options. Like, okay, Willian played 10 on Thursday, but he might play left wing on Sunday, or I might play him on the right, take Pepe out, play Saka. So I think there'll be a lot of rotation with them guys. I think Aubameyang's probably the only one that will be like consistently playing. You know what I mean? So it's good. You got to have options, man. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing Willian play. I think he will offer us something that we haven't really got.
Giving him credit for
100%. A lot better. Listen, I think for 2 years, Willian's going to be a useful player for us. There are not many players.
Useful, like you said, useful. When you look at Willian in isolation, of course he's not going to be the difference between us getting top 4, and again, if is a big word, if we signed a centre mid like you were saying, and obviously get Gabriel confirmed with Willian, he can help us, assist us to get to that next level. You mentioned a great point about competition. Now, when I mention competition, it's probably safe to say Reiss Nelson right now isn't in the realistic debate beyond the squad player when we're talking about maybe Willian on the right, Pepe, Saka, whatever you want to do, sort of thing. But Nelson has spoke about, he can very much go out alone, but he's spoken about, I relish the competition. Obviously, I want to be starting, but I'm up for the challenge. Now, he didn't play too much, but in the comments after, apparently he was saying to Arteta, yo, let me take the first penalty, to the point where Arteta basically said, shit, then, like, you're going to take it then. Yeah. And he's a convincing penalty. So for me, What do you think about Nelson next season? Do you think that's the beginning of seeing a sort of killer mentality? Because ironically, he played well against Liverpool at the Emirates. Do you see him getting in with a shout and further causing headache for Arteta this year?
He's going to have to play really good, man. I looked at him last year. I'll be honest, at the start of last season, he was the youngster I was most looking forward to seeing. I thought this guy's going to really blow up in the first team, and I felt he was underwhelming. He's got a lot of competition. You got Pepe on the right. Willian potentially could be on the right or in the 10. You got Martinelli to come back with. Does he play when he comes?
Even myself, I just forgot about him.
Yeah, I mean, bruv, we got he really needs to step up this year, Nelson, because I think there's a lot of hope about him. He's another one of them players I wouldn't like to see us sell him because he could become something big. But again, I look at him, I think, does he need a loan move? Possibly he does. I think sometimes, you got to understand football's changed a lot. When back in the day it was reserve football. Now with this under 23s,
gap is massive.
A lot of these guys are superstars in them leagues, and they come to the first team and they're way off it. So
ball game.
I think now that sometimes you need that loan move to bridge the gap between the 23s and the first team. Like, I'm even expecting Smith Rowe to be a better player this year. You've had a loan. You've played a lot of football at Huddersfield in the Championship, difficult league. They had a relegation battle as well. So Nelson at the moment, I believe he's got the talent. It's the production at the moment. I don't see enough end product.
That matters.
And that's it. He needs to step up. Again, with Willock as well, similar. Like, I see a lot of potential in Joe Willock, but you got to produce, like that header. If he scores that header, it's a great moment for him. Sometimes as a young player, you need that moment.
Need that little moment, innit?
Where it opens everything up for you.
It just clicks and you think, yeah, this is what I need to do now forever, sort of thing.
Do you know what I mean? Remember Martinelli's goal against Chelsea? After that game, for weeks, Arsenal fans were talking about him like,
the West Ham game, when he played and he scored against West Ham, I think when we finally got to winning ways away from home.
Yeah. Freddie's game, innit? Yeah, so... Yeah, Nelson, I'm just not sure about him. I think he needs to get a bit stronger and be a bit more direct. I want to see you just run at people, get crosses in, get shots off. Like,
that's why I think it's confidence for me, man. I just don't. Him and Emil, they're very much like Saka's a human. I think every player's a confidence one, but it's like Saka takes it more in his stride. Maybe because he's been playing up the age groups quickly, and he just, the penny hasn't sunk in that. Oh crap, I'm playing Premier League football. But it just seems like every time I've watched Nelson in the first team, the real convincing performances, and he has played well in the league, like against Liverpool, but the real ones I've really seen of him where he looked confident and assured was actually when he was playing fullback under Arsene Wenger in the Europa League. I look at he could have played this game. I can't be sure. I'm sure he played it at Old Trafford when Maitland-Niles and Mavropanos did their thing. Looked a bit shaky there. Watford away looked a bit shaky. I'm sure he started. Did he start against Newcastle or Burnley last season? Looked a bit shaky. There's promise in his performances, but I just think it's psychological. And there's things I've said I saw then, and I'm seeing now. I saw them at Hoffenheim. Sorry, like I see promise, see things, but it's about getting over the line now. Because sooner or later we're gonna have to make a decision. I still believe it. I still believe in Reece Nelson. I've left this question up for a minute, man, and I love when you're here to answer Aubameyang questions. Would Emre have convinced Aubameyang to stay, and better yet, would he have stayed if Emre didn't get the sack?
I mean, do you know the thing? Like, it's not just a straightforward question, because we know a lot of players seem to not like Unai Emery, right? And I get that, but you also have to remember Aubameyang won the Golden Boot under Emery. Do you know what I mean? So
you gotta keep it true. Yeah,
he might not be looking at Emery like, Emery was a clown. Like, he might have looked at it like, you know what, like, weren't the best of managers, but I was thriving under him. Like, you know what I mean? He scored a lot of big goals. He played through the middle a lot as well, because Iwobi was often on the left. Yeah. So it's a difficult one. But I do think he believes more in Arteta, even think after the FA Cup final. Yeah, he sees the project. I remember he tweeted saying, my manager and all that. You never saw that kind of connection with Emery. Yeah, so I believe Arteta is the guy he wants to sign for. I think if Emery was there, maybe he would have been more likely to look elsewhere and see what else was out there. Do you know what I mean? But I think he loves Arsenal anyway.
I think, like you said, I think it was a tough one. I just think he wanted. I think he was happy to stay. I think obviously he's open to going to other clubs. You got to be stupid to not be. But I think he was opening to stay, provided he could believe in the project. It's like being at work. If you're in the office and you're bringing in, you're smashing all the pictures for your company and whatnot, but you're looking to the left and the right, and your work colleagues are not levels. Are you going to want to stay at that organization, or are you going to look for the top organization within your sector and say, that's where I need to be? Or are you going to say, you know what, we might not be top, but we're fairly decent and there's something to believe in here and I'm comfortable. He seems comfortable. People underestimate how comfortable you need to be as a footballer. He's happy in London. He's got his family. He's adored by fans. Him and Troops with the bromance and stuff. Troops is doing very well in that regards of keeping him. But yeah, man, it's like, he's got to be honest. Does he think he could do something in the last 3 years here? Like, what do you think he could do in the last? Could we win? I won't ask you, can we win a league title? But could we get some sort of memories, whatever that would be, with Aubameyang in this duration if he does stay?
Do you know what it is? I think there's two things we need to do, right? I think we need to get back into that top four and establish ourselves back in that top four, where people are starting the season going, yeah, I think Arsenal get in the top four. Like, we need to be that team again. I think on the side note, win trophies. Like, I always think, like, if you can't win the Premier League and you can't win the Champions League, if like this year, go and win the Europa League. Do you know what I mean? Go and win the League Cup. Go and win the FA Cup. Try and get in the top four, of course. That's where we need to be. We need to establish ourselves as a Champions League club again. But win trophies in the meantime. That's why I'm happy that we're winning FA Cups. I think we've won 4 FA Cups in the last 6 or 7 years. So even at our worst, we're ticking over. And it's important as a player. I saw an interview with Coutinho where he was saying, he loved it at Liverpool, but he never had that feeling of winning a trophy. They didn't win one trophy when Coutinho was there. And even to win an FA Cup as a player, I'm sure that feeling gives you belief that you can win other things. And
many people don't get silverware in their careers. Obviously,
you know what I mean?
In football, we just focus on the top, like the top echelon of players, the top 5%. Not many people win silverware in their trophies. Not to say the FA Cup is the be all and end all, but trophies are not a given for a professional footballer. And for me, it's he can have all the individual accolades and win top goal scorer and do all of these things, and that's all that matters to a degree. But at least he's got a little team moment. Like, it's only the Community Shield and the FA Cup, but there's some sort of physical proof that his time in England has been a collective success for him as an individual and as a person, man. Yeah, speaking of old strikers, you take Suarez on a 2-year. I assume you're talking about Lewis.
It can't be Dennis.
Yeah. Can't be Dennis again.
I feel like we missed the boat, man. I made a video about it last week. People were 50-50 on it. Do you know what? I was thinking more from a financial point of view. Looking at the fact that Arsenal need to raise money, I was thinking, would you take 30-40 million for Lacazette and bring a Suarez in on a free? But probably not. He doesn't strike me as to have in the dressing room. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I would. Do you know what though? I think these kind of deals are going to happen more often. That like you're seeing a lot of older players leaving clubs now. So we've bought Willian. You've seen Thiago Silva go to Chelsea. Suarez probably going to go somewhere.
Even Messi for free, allegedly, based on reports. I know it's disrespectful to Messi, but yeah.
Yeah, even Zlatan. I mean, Zlatan's 37? He's just signed a new 1 or 2 year contract. I think you'll see players, back in the day when a player was 30, 31, now don't go near him. He's finished. He's on his way out. But now I think you'll see these players playing into their mid-30s at the top level, man. Lewandowski's just had one of the best years of his career in his 30s. Like you said, Vardy, Golden Boot winner. So, yeah, the Suarez one, I'd probably leave it alone just because I just think, we missed out on him when we really should have got him. And I think, I'm not sure he'd be great in the dressing room either.
You took the words out of my mouth, man. You said it with Suarez. So, like, all right, cool. Is there me and you focus on centre half and centre midfield a lot? Like, it looks like until the fat lady sings and we sign it, I don't know. But it looks like we're getting Gabriel. We've got Saliba. We've got a manager who knows what he's doing in terms of the defending. We need to bring in a midfielder, clearly. If we look past midfield and centre half, is there any other positions or players or squad players or anything you'd like to add into the side or you feel is lacking or anything?
Yeah, do you know, like, I still have these reservations with the striker, the number 9, right? I looked at Eddie on Saturday and he does a lot of things good, but at the end of the day, you've got to score goals. You know, if we lose that game 2-1, look at Mane's chance where he tries to like dink it over Martinez and he saves it, right? If we lose that game 2-1, you're looking back at that Eddie chance in the first half, you're saying, you've got to score that, bro. It's a great chance. Even the one where he got it, and I think he tried to pass it, and the pass got blocked. So I still have these reservations with Eddie. I support the guy fully. You know, I love seeing young players make it at Arsenal, but at the moment, I just don't see it with him. And then Lacazette, I have got reservations about him because I think he's a great player. I think if you asked any player at Arsenal, is Lacazette a good player? I bet they rate him highly as a footballer.
All the young players I speak to, that's the one they say for advice and for technical qualities. Lacazette is quality.
Game is top notch, but the reality is 10 Premier League goals is not good enough when Jamie Vardy's scoring 30 or 23 and he's like 30 odd years of age. I know he's a different kind of player, but it feels like to me at the moment, we only win a game if Aubameyang scores. And I don't like that feeling. Like, to me, top teams don't do that. You know what I'm saying, bruv? You know, the top teams don't do that. Liverpool win games. Who scored? Mane, Salah, Firmino at times.
Maybe, Ronaldo might chip in here and there.
Ronaldo, Trent might whip a free kick in. You know, Van Dijk might score a header. They're getting goals for it. Man City score goals from all over the place.
He once a year will come off the bench and score that goal to take them to a final and that.
Yeah, with us, it's like, it must be Aubameyang. Who else is going to score? And that needs to change for me. So, you know, we need Lacazette. Can we get the best out of Lacazette, or do we sell him and move him on? Is the question. And then Pepe as well.
You, man.
What, Lacazette?
Yeah. What do you do with Lacazette?
Do you know what it is? Number one, it's if you're selling him, who are you bringing in? Because you can't sell him and go with Eddie for me. If you feel like you've got a replacement striker where you think this guy's going to... Because I think if we've got a number 9 who can get 20 league goals, all of a sudden we're a top 4 club, in my opinion. Because I feel like Aubameyang on that left-hand side is going to get you his 20. You got a guy in the middle getting 20 and Pepe maybe getting a 10 or 12.
Chipping in with things and Saka and that.
Then, man, then we're in business. You know what I mean? But I'm looking at the market. I mean, I'm not overly convinced with the strikers. Someone there saying Jovic, I don't really like him. That Edouard looks good at Celtic. You know, you always have reservations with signing players from Celtic. You know, you got Dembele at Lyon. I don't know. If you could get 40-odd million for him, 35, 40 million, you can bring an Edouard in, a younger, quicker, bigger goal scorer. I would consider it because
that's the thing.
He's got 2 years left. What's he got? 2 years left? I mean...
Yeah, a couple of years on his deal still.
What do you do with him next summer? How old's Lacazette? 28, 29?
28, 29.
Needs a new deal. He's on 175, I believe. So he's going to want 200 plus at 29. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Unless he goes and bangs 25 goals this year, then... You know, I just think with Lacazette, is Lacazette a better player now than when we signed him? I would say maybe not. Like, he's become a slightly different player. He's more of a Firmino now. Like,
he's been like, his work rate and stuff, but he hasn't been clutch. He hasn't justified the price tag per se in terms of scoring. Like, all that's going to matter is the stats. And I'm not saying that to be harsh because I'm a big fan of Lacazette, but it's like when you just look at it on paper and you look at the goal returns, we can isolate games and the goals and say, he only scored 10 goals, but this one was in this and this and that. Yeah. All that's going to matter is the returns, and it's not going to happen. Somebody's spoken about Ben Rama, and I don't necessarily want to focus on Ben Rama. It's like, typically at Arsenal, we normally had a goal-scoring striker, and our midfield and our wingers within reason would chip in. Obviously, we've got Pepe, and it's kind of complicated in that regards. But let's say Lacazette goes, and we can't bring in a striker. Do you bring in a proper goal-scoring winger? Now, you could say we're flooding that, but what if we had, in theory, isolate, let's just say Aubameyang goes up front. On the left, we've got whoever that can get 10, 20 league goals. Like you said, Pepe's chipping in his thing. What would you say to that?
I mean, that's not bad. It's just who do you buy on that left-hand side? You've also got the problem when Martinelli's back as well. Because it's hard because I always believe at top clubs you should have a lot of competition even for young players, like a young player should have to really work hard to get into the team. But at the same time, you don't want to block them coming through if you think that. Like, I think Saka and Martinelli have got huge potential. I think those two can go to the very top. You know what I mean? So you don't want to block them at the same time. I mean, you could buy a left winger. You could potentially, if you lost Lacazette, because you may not be able to buy a striker. See, this comment here, a lot of people say that, but, you know,
I think it's an outdated one, fam.
I think it's outdated because, to me, if you have a striker like that, you just change the way you play. Jamie Vardy's hold-up play is not great either.
Exactly. But he's on the last shoulder. They play to his strengths.
You get him facing their goal. Yeah, you're not playing it into feet and playing long balls for him to hold up. And so, you know, was Henry's hold-up amazing at Arsenal? Or, you know, you get these guys facing the goal. So I think about when we signed Aubameyang, he was playing through the middle under Arsene Wenger. Exactly. You know, like, so I think you just play with a different system. I see Zaha scored a belter at the weekend again.
Yeah, the agenda's still going strong. The Zaha agenda.
Yeah, man. You know what is with Zaha? I just feel like there's unfinished business there, man. Like, I've always wanted to see him in an Arsenal shirt, but whether it happens, I doubt it now. But
what are you saying for Martinelli as a striker? Because I saw some comments. I didn't do a video on it, but we know he can be a striker. He made some loose comments in that Arteta sees me as that, but he kind of said, I prefer playing on the left. Clearly, he'll play wherever, but yeah, man, what do you feel on that? He wants to be a winger, but a striker. Can he lock down both roles? Will a decision have to be made? What if we bring in another striker and then it becomes apparent that he is a striker and now, you know, with Aubameyang or whatever, we've complicated things?
You know what? I've always thought Martinelli will end up as a striker, but maybe he likes playing on the wing in that, you know, a lot of the time you get the ball facing forward, you know, you isolate the fullback. You know, sometimes playing as a striker is very congested, isn't it? It's not easy now. I think the way you know, like the way the game is now, the striker's almost doing the dirty work for the two wingers to go and prosper off it now. So back in the day, you wanted to play through the middle. I want to be the striker. I want to get goals. There was probably two strikers. Now, you know, playing up front by yourself is hard, man. It is hard work. Look at Benzema, bruv. To me, Benzema, right, I think he's a world-class footballer, right? But when he first signed for Real Madrid, I honestly believed Benzema was going to be like one of the best in the world. Like, I felt like he's going to go to the very top. Now, don't get me wrong. He's had a career that says, yeah, you've been unbelievable. But let's be honest, he's been the side man to Cristiano Ronaldo. He's done his dirty work for years. And that's what the striker's sort of becoming like. Firmino's doing the work for Salah and Mane to have fun. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So Aubameyang's probably even looking at it and going, you know what? If we're going to play like this, I'd rather just chill out here on the left. You know, Tierney don't really need me back that much. And, you know, I'm isolating fullbacks. I'm cutting inside. Lacazette, he's in there fighting, doing all the
gaps being opened.
Yeah, and you know, look at them little runs he makes between the fullback and the centre off. So I think wingers is like the modern day striker nowadays. Yeah. So I think maybe Martinelli thinks I want to come play off the left. So I can see it at the moment, him playing off the left. But I think long term maybe he will become a striker because I think he's just got that goal scoring instinct, Martinelli, to me, that low centre of gravity and that. I think he'll score goals, man.
You're 100% facts because all while you was talking, all I could see is Alexis Sanchez's 20 league goal season when he was a false nine, and that being Gabriel. Obviously, we've been here for a minute, and I don't want to take up any more of your time. But what was actually just slipped my mind. I had a good question for you as you was talking, but it slipped my mind, so I'm gonna point it to the fans, man. Let's get the fans them questions in before we keep moving. Annoyed I forgot the question because just as you was talking, I thought, let me ask you something, and it's just gone. Freezing under pressure like Arsenal players. Oh man. Where's the questions, people, man? What's going on? It looks like, sorry, what do you say? Selling Maitland-Niles and Martinez in order to sign Partey, do you think we are repeating a cycle? Sold Ox to buy Oba. We ended up with a great striker, but now we do not have a great midfield. Speaking for me, my guy, Alan, I think it's not necessarily that, but Arsenal are the kings of creating more problems where they don't need to create any. It's like people, it's quieting down now, but people were saying with what we need to do this summer, sell Aubameyang or whatever. Why sell Aubameyang when, you know, you haven't addressed the side and you're now going to have to make more problems for yourself? That's a classic Arsenal thing for me.
Bro, we've been doing this for years. We actually get to a point where we get a player to a certain level and then people will say, oh, sell him to go and fix the other problems. But then you've just created an even bigger problem.
Facts.
You can see with strikers around the world at the moment, there's a limit on top strikers. Most of the top strikers are actually in their 30s at the moment, like your Lewandowski's and Aguero, all these guys. You know, you keep Aubameyang, you give him a contract, you build around him, you don't get rid of him. He makes a good point, though, you know. Although I don't think Oxlade-Chamberlain was necessarily that important to us. I was disappointed to see him leave when he left. You know, I was a big fan of the Ox, but he wanted to play central. Wenger didn't really believe in him in that position. But, yeah, and we lost Alexis the year that, the same January that Aubameyang came. Imagine if we'd have had Alexis and Aubameyang together, you know.
That'd been scary.
We never got to see that, but
never got to see it. All right, let me ask you a final question before I let you go. Pepe up front. Now there was rumors midway through the season. Who got injured? Someone, was it Lacazette or suspended? And there was talk of if there was a good chance Pepe would play up front. I can't remember when. What do you think of Pepe up front? How would that be for you?
It'd be a different type. See, I've looked at Pepe before and thought, could he play 10?
Same.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he drifts, he picks up space well, he can turn, you know, he's sharp. As a centre forward, I mean, apparently he's played up front before for Lille. I think if you can play on the counter-attack again and get him facing forward, maybe. But in the Premier League and the way Arsenal play, where he'll have his back to goal a lot, I'm not sure.
Kind of vital.
That's what, and this is why we probably have, you know, the way Arteta wants to play, I think, although we question Lacazette, I think he is very important, you know, because a lot of the time, and I'm not digging Eddie out here, you know, you could see at times when we was under pressure that we're trying to get out and the ball's not sticking. Van Dijk's leaning on him. And I see one time, right, in the game, in the first half, where Eddie tried to run around Van Dijk and Van Dijk just stuck the arm
Just
out.
gave that arm in it, yeah.
I said, yo, man, none of that.
That's fine, Osman. There's nothing you can do against Van Dijk. He
can't do nothing.
But he can't do nothing. Where Lacazette can move, man. Like Lacazette can put up a physical contest.
Lacazette's hold-up play is elite, bro. I'm telling you.
His
ability to win free kicks and link-up play is top-notch. So,
and I think people underestimate that with Lacazette.
Yeah. And I bet Aubameyang loves playing up front with that, man, because he's doing the dirty.
Out of you, because I don't think people understand the gaps that open when people are gravitating towards Lacazette and the right back isn't looking on his shoulder and Aubameyang's gone. Because look at Williams, you know, it was good play from an Arsenal perspective, but Williams is too narrow, and then he also by then is too late, and he allows him inside, and the rest is history. I'm keen to see how. Last question, Curtis.
Go on.
Someone just come in with a top one. It's not that big up, my guy. 1-1. But, you know, we're talking about Giroud had a lot of criticism. One thing that can't be criticised is his hold-up play. Giroud or Lacazette for hold-up play?
Do you know what?
One, you know.
Do you know why it's hard, right? Because I feel like Giroud was a lot of like, I feel like he'd flick it round the corner a lot, like rather than actually making it stick, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The little outside the left foot or the little flick on. In terms of actually sticking it, I feel like Lacaz's better at that, if you know what I mean.
There's more sauce to it with Lacazette.
Yeah, like I feel like Lacazette will get it and then he's spinning and that. When Giroud's sick still. Like Giroud was one of them players that like I didn't really like him when he was at Arsenal, but I always respected him as a footballer. Do you know what I mean? I always looked at him and thought, if you use Giroud right, he's a very good player. We didn't really get the best out of him, but
I think he was. I think Giroud's problem was, you know, if he got to, I say 10 years, it weren't 10 years, but if he got to play when, like you said earlier, 4-4-2 was a thing, he'd be held in much higher regard. Saying that, end of the day, he's a World Cup winner, but I think he would have, man. If you had a little and large, like, could you imagine, what would you, like, this would have never happened, but let's just say Aubameyang isn't a thing, yeah? Imagine it was Lacazette and Lacazette and Giroud up front. What would you think of that as a strike force? Like, if that was our strike force to get top four, like how we're sitting here in September now with Fulham to come, What do you think that'd be capable of doing? Because it feels good on paper with link-up play, but
yeah, if it was old school 4-4-2 days, maybe that could have worked. I mean, you know, when Giroud was at Arsenal, I always wanted Giroud and Sanchez up front in a 2. I always felt like that could have worked because, you know, you look at Giroud and Griezmann for France. You know, Giroud is in there and Griezmann kind of floats around him, you know.
Floats around him and gets
Sanchez became like more of a central striker at the end for Arsenal anyway. You know, Sanchez is that player for me that, you know, certain players left Arsenal and you think, like, you know, I look at him, I think, oh, I'm not bothered anyway. Like, I didn't like him or whatever. You know, with Sanchez, that one burns, you know.
That one burns. That's hard to accept, man.
Sanchez, honestly, right, is one of my favorite ever players I've probably seen at Arsenal. Honestly, I think he's that good. Like, he literally, I used to get off my seat for him. He was just like, he was a match winner constantly, wasn't he?
Bro, I remember his first game. I'm pretty sure it was Crystal Palace, and we won in the last minute at the Emirates. Like, it's one of them ones we knew. Obviously, we watched him with Messi. We knew he was a good footballer. But when you're truly there at the Emirates, you know he's a bad boy footballer. Like, I remember one time, by his own standards, he was having a bad game, but he turned it around. I think Giroud got sent off. I think it was Boxing Day at the Emirates. Giroud got sent off for challenging Needham Manure, and I think Alexis missed a penalty, and then he patterned it with a header. That guy, for all his technique, he was just electrifying, man. It's I'm hoping Martinelli's that, but I feel that's probably one thing. I don't want to say we're missing, because I kind of feel like that with Aubameyang, but I feel it was like a greater degree with Alexis. Like, Aubameyang's clearly a better goal scorer, but it's like, I don't know, when you had a player like Alexis who was, you know, world class at the time or whatever, it was a different sort of feeling, and we got him for pennies. We beat Liverpool to that sign. They offered more cash. Look how both teams have gone. Mad.
Yo, do you know what it was with Sanchez? It was the intensity, bro. Like, yeah, it's like all game it was like non-stop. Like, you could just see the hunger and the determination just flowing through him. Like, you know, I remember that Burnley game where he scored the penalty in the last minute. Remember when he chipped it down the middle? This guy, man. And even that game when we ripped up Chelsea, when him and Ozil, like, they was on fire.
Remember the Liverpool one as well? I'm sure they've done that to Liverpool and United as well. They've put
United, like, them, you know, Ozil, prime Ozil and Sanchez was special. Like, you really
have Man City at the Emirates. We're gone.
City at the Emirates says, yo, that when he, I think he scored a volley past Joe.
Yeah, he scored, and Wilshere played hard that game.
Yeah, no, man, no. Yeah, you know what? It's criminal that Arsene Wenger didn't build around them two, man, because
bro, we had Santi, like, you
know, in there as well.
Like, my man asked us a question earlier about, more or less, do we like to keep building? It's like, you had Ozil, but you didn't have 11 other workers.
Yeah.
Aubameyang, we ain't got the creators. When we had the creators, no disrespect to Giroud, but he's not a 20 league goal man. Then we never had a centre halves. Then we was getting defenders. We never had a goalie. Then we had Koscielny, but we never had a partner. Like, we just like to unfinished projects, my guy, man.
It's true.
Like, real talk, last question, Curtis, man, because I keep saying that to you, and I know you need to bust out.
Go on.
Curtis/DG, who's your favourite player that has represented us in the Emirates era?
Bro, I'll keep it 100. I know he left us. It's Sanchez, bro. I know Henry played for us at the Emirates, but he left pretty quick, so I'm not including him. I did love Fabregas. I liked Van Persie, but he didn't do it for long enough. I gotta go Alexis, man. He's the best player I've seen at the Emirates, so I keep it 100.
Everything he said, everything Curtis said, he took the words out of my mouth. I'm gonna throw up Santi Cazorla, because I just feel when you put him with all the ballers, I think people underestimate. They know how good he was technically, but they underestimate what he brought to the table. So I'm gonna say Santi. I've got to throw up Hileb into that debate. I've got to big up Arshavin. I remember when Arshavin came, he was the first sort of like big money signing at the time. Like 50 mil or something. And 15. I think he was on different crud. Cess, you know what? I was gonna say
Cess was a special player, man.
Special, bro. Like, clutch as well. Like, there's one thing being special, there's the next thing being clutch. I feel you got Paul Ramsey and Wilshere for me, purely on sentiment. If I had to pick, gun to my head, I'm probably gonna go Alexis Santi.
I have to, bro.
Yeah, I have to, bro. I have to. It's you know what? I have to go Henry, you know.
You going Henry?
Came back. I know it's not. It's a cheat code. It's not really a thing, but he came back and scored, man. I can't look past that, man. I can't.
The Leeds United goal, yeah. You're giving him the Leeds United. That moment was special, wasn't it?
That was a different Raw. I was only watching on the TV, but it's a different Raw. Like, that's a different Raw, bro. Rosicki as well in the comments. Shout out Rosicki, bro. He's being forgotten. Nasri, even though he's a pagan.
I always remember, I came down. I watched Arsenal, Man United at the Emirates. And I paid a lot of money for the ticket, man. I remember coming down and I was sitting in the North Bank and I'm watching Henry. I'm just like focusing on Henry for the whole game. And I'm thinking, this guy ain't done nothing the whole game. He's strolling around the pitch. He ain't really touched the ball. We went 1-0 down. Rooney scored. Van Persie 2-1.
Yeah.
I remember he whipped it in. Henry heads it top corner, yeah. I'm like, and the crowd, like, it's like the roof was going to come off, bro. And then the next day, I'm reading like the newspaper, and they're like, Henry 9 out of 10 man of the match. And I'm like, that's what this guy's like, man. And I remember Wenger said in the interview, and they was like saying Henry and that. And he was like, the thing with Henry, he's that good that he only needs 1 second. And all of a sudden, he's the best player on the pitch. He can do nothing for 89 minutes and 59 seconds. But that 1 second where he moves, because he just dropped the shoulder on Ferdinand, he went near post, then just checked. And Ferdinand was like scrambling and man just heads it top corner. And you're like, that's the difference, man. That's just pure quality, bruv.
Do you know who's like that as well? He's completely unrelated to Arsenal. Lionel Messi. I swear to you, this better than Barcelona, man, jump and fool around in the pitch and whatnot. But he walks around, bro. Like, I've seen it with my own eyes. He walks. He looks. Messi doesn't look like he's involved, and then bang. And I guess that's what the special players are on. That's who they are and whatnot, man. It is what it is, man. But
it's true, man.
We've been here 15 minutes longer than I planned to keep you. I know you got
man, I'm happy to talk, bruv. One player you just mentioned there, and he's put there, is Nasri. I felt like we lost a potential superstar in him.
I thought he was going to genuinely be, not just world-class player, but a hallmark, like a real legend in world football. And I think he had the potential to do that. He's had a good career, but for me, Nasri could have been a great. I'm not just saying stay at Arsenal. I think if he applied himself, he could have really been a footballing great, but he didn't.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he was a great player, man. So good on the ball, but is what it is, isn't it? His career's gone crazy, hasn't it?
It is exactly what it is. I'd like to say big up to my moderators as well before we get out of here. See, stuff like they've been on job. They've been on job. I'm gonna start calling my moderators my midfielders, man. They're moving mad. Like, I see a couple of them. I see Omar moving mad. I think Ahmed, I see one comment earlier was getting on to me. He's like, I thought you made me a moderator. I was about to mention it, but someone else done it. So big up the moderators, big up everybody who's been listening. It's obviously been an appreciated thing, man. Curtis, plug your thing, my guy, man.
Yeah, man.
Jesus Christ. Thank you very much for that. Oh, my Jesus. Man,
yeah, man, when you're giving them the good content, bro.
Big up yourself. It's appreciated, man.
Check out the channel Curtis Shaw TV. They already know about this partnership anyway, man. It's regular.
I'm going to get onto you, bro. I wanted to come onto your channel this last week. You didn't bust me, man. We need to do that this week, man.
You know what? It was a quiet week, man. Nothing really happened. I want to really do it when we've got big talking points. I think there'll be announcements this week, to be honest. Maybe towards the weekend I'll get you back on mine. But how do you do the moderator thing anyway? I need to get a moderator in.
Bro, no cap. I went on my channel. I asked everyone who wants to be a moderator just before we went on this stream. I went and learned how to do it. I think you got to go in YouTube Studio and go to the community tab. Eventually it brings you up and you just literally just copy and paste their names and then they do their thing, man. And man. And if you want to be a moderator, get the thing, put the thing in there, man. Put the things in there. Get under the comments of this video. But love for coming through, Curtis. Make sure you subscribe to his team. Come on, man.
Nothing but respect for you, brother.
In a bit, my guy.
Bless, man.